Hi, and welcome to Tarot Time. And we have got a lot to talk about this week. So if you're watching this as a video, we're going to dive right in a minute or two. What I do on our Sunday morning get together, it's kind of a community gathering. So a lot of our inner community people interact a lot on the stream, and we talk a little bit about what's going on in the world and current events. But what we aim to do is to give you a very well-rounded energy update for what's coming up for the week to follow, and maybe a little bit beyond that, using tarot. So we do a meditation card for the week that's appropriate for the energies. We do a tarot spread. I've got other divination tools, and we just dive in that way. So let me just break for a second, say a quick couple of hellos, see who's on so far. As we ready. Hello, MDR, Chris the Volunteer. Welcome. Hey, Judy. Hey, Doreen of Children's School of Yoga. Katie Bluebird. Welcome. Welcome, Margaret. Welcome, Millie. Millie. All right. Little bit slower beginning this morning. Maybe that's just part of the energy. There's definitely been a lot going on. So anyway, we just had a very powerful full moon that you guys know about, and some of you did the transmissions with us. That's up on the channel. That was very powerful in realigning our energetic fields to adjust to these higher frequencies that are peaking this full moon and beyond. So we have that going on. We've got a lot going on with, obviously, with American politics, President-elect Donald Trump. I'll tell you guys that the 47 version is going to be very different than the 45 version. And I kind of gave you the heads up. I think it was either before or after he was officially elected, that things were going to happen very quickly, very swiftly. A lot was going to get exposed, and that's happening. So my suggestion is try not to get too emotionally wrapped up in everything that's going on in the politics. Things are going to happen quickly. People are going to be very shocked. I think some of the cabinet choices are shocking a lot of people. Sit back, let it play out. Do what you need to do to let your voice be heard if you feel that or that's appropriate. Everything's playing out for a reason. I don't think it's anything conscious, or I shouldn't say that. I think it's just more spirit, and that there's certain humans that are kind of players in this awakening process. So I know a lot of people. I'm not going to spend the whole hour talking about Trump, so I'm going to make that clear right now. But a lot of people are up in arms, are very scared about the prospect of things that are happening. We're going to be okay. And that's my message. That's been my message all along. Whether you support him, whether you're against him, whether you're left, whether you're right, or whatever, a lot's going to get exposed. And a lot of people are concerned with the rights of women or minorities or the LBGQT. No, am I getting the letters right? I'm sorry if I'm not. LBQ. Oh God, I should write this down. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. LBGTQ. TQ. Okay. All right. Anyway, but I think the misdeeds or the prospect of discriminatory acts or suppression of these groups, I think it's just going to serve to bring more information out and to awaken people. I think that's what's going to happen, for better, for worse, for good or for ill. It's an awakening process. People are going to be more aware. They're going to be smarter. And a lot of the things that people are really afraid of, it's just not going to happen in a way that's going to be detrimental. There may be a period where it appears that way. So I just want to just put that out there to put people's minds at ease, especially those that are really nervous about what's going to happen. Things are going to happen very swiftly, but I mentioned that. I kind of warned you about that. I think it was the day after the election when I did a quick video. So anyway, let me see what you guys are saying. We're going to Thank you, LGBTQ. Thank you for that, Katie. On a Sunday morning, my mind's very scrambled because it's basically like I've been doing readings like days on end, and then this is like my first day off for a while. But in any event, and everything is happening as it should. Thank you, Andrea, and welcome. And 1119, Pluto enters Aquarius for the final time for 19 years anyway. So it's been straddling that cusp for what, about 18 months or so. But this is going to be the official ending of the USA Pluto return once Pluto's out of the sign of Capricorn. Um, the USA was born on a 28-degree Capricorn Pluto. So we've been straddling that for a while. It's going to be wholesale changes. It's going to be very revolutionary, very evolutionary. I even put some notes down because I wanted to, oh yeah, indigenous rights, things like that. I think there's going to be a huge outcropping of indigenous groups trying to get their messages through, not just here in the USA, but other areas where there's been a strong, or I shouldn't say strong is the wrong word, of just a known history of suppression of the indigenous people. So I'm talking about the American, I'm talking about Australia, New Zealand, and other areas, maybe even in the Celtic areas. So I think we're going to see people wanting to institute like more history in the schools about them, more about the language, the customs and stuff like that. And I just saw like a very interesting thing because I don't really watch the news. I kind of look at the headlines and kind of dive into a few of the stories, basically. But a very interesting thing that around the country Cuba and the Miss Universe contest and the Miss Cuba Universe. Now, if you understand a little bit about the history of that country with Fidel Castro, it's a very new thing in modern history that they're allowed to participate in beauty pageant. She came out in this elaborate, like yellow outfit for the goddess Oshun, the river goddess. It's sort of like the Yoruban Venus. And I think, again, that to me, that's a sign. There's a parliament meeting. I saw this on what's the channel's name? John Nolan's channel, Inspired, about a meeting with the New Zealand Parliament where the indigenous people started doing their chants right in a parliament meeting, basically. And I think this is the energy we're coming in, a lot of revolutionary energy. And I think that's going to be happening in the U.S. I don't think it would have mattered. I think if Trump lost the election, there would have been hell to pay, and him winning the election, there's hell to pay. I'm using that term loosely, by the way, but meaning that there's a winner and there's a loser, and there's such divide. And I think, and again, I've said this a few times, and I'm not really trying to support either side. I like to see all sides of the equation. I like to take a more of a holistic view. Of course, I have opinions. Of course, I'm not a perfect, vessel of the divine yet. I still have my humanness. I still have programming. I still have prejudices and all that. I think, unless you're an enlightened master, I think if you can't admit that about yourself, you're not going to grow and evolve any further than you are at this time. But that said, where were we going with that? Okay. In my explanation, I kind of lost my train of thought there. But anyway, oh yeah, the river, yeah, restructuring politics and citizens, yeah. Sorry that I just totally lost my train of thought talking about this and explaining. But again, I'm not really taking side. But the point being is that you just try to stay in your own lane and really try not to get too wrapped up in things. It's a very revolutionary and evolutionary times, and starting around 2022, we started to talk about 2024, that this is really when the big shift was going to happen. It's going to go into 2025. Other things that are going on, more UFO disclosures. There are even meetings about that. But I think the idea is, sit back, see how things play out with the Trump cabinet. And I think I'm getting my train of thought back, because one of the things that that I felt that was that it just felt like I don't want to say that the elections were fixed, because I don't believe there's been a fair election, or I shouldn't say a fair election, but but I feel like there's been manipulation of elections for a very, very long time. It just seemed to happen really too easily. And there was prior to the election, a few months before, there was an assassination attempt that really, by all knowledge of how things operate with the Secret Service and politicians, it's just something that how could this have happened? That somebody would be in open view. They have things like drones, they have satellites, they can see pennies on Fifth Avenue, New York City, but they can't detect somebody on a roof and a presidential candidate, with a gun, pointed at the president. So there's a lot, again, that's why I say sit back, enjoy the show, and know that you're going to be okay. Keep your heart open, connect with spirit. Things have to change. There's a change in the guards that's happening now. It has to happen. This is how it's playing out based upon our collective consciousness, where we're at as a collective field. And it's not going to be pretty all the time, but the more we can stay in our heart individually and feed that collective, the more gracefully we're going to get through these times, and things are going to change one way or another. This new 47 is different than 45. So I'm going to say this new, what's the right word? Jeez. I don't think I'm going I'm 66. I don't think I'm going senile, but this new administration, how about that? I don't think that's going to just ruin the world or anything. I think it's just going to expose a lot of stuff. Can't even remember that. Valensky, the Ukraine prime minister, is actually predicting the war is going to end sooner because Trump's in office. So we'll see about that. We're going to see a lot of stuff with the economy. We're going to see a lot of changes, but we're going to see a lot of protests. We're going to see a lot of clashing. And the other thing is that it feels like we're going into a period where there's going to be, again, a big spike in solar activity. So we may get northern lights again by the end of November and into December. But also watch out for things like geological upheaval, especially around the West Coast, because I'm still feeling like there could be a pretty significant, if not a very big, earthquake. And the West Coast, around the LA area or somewhere there. And I think another one somewhere else that causes a tsunami. This might be a few months down the road, but everything is resetting into a new vibration and frequency. And we're in that transitional state where everything's very unstable, including our physical 3D reality. So there's more of those kind of like Mandela effects, temporal displacements, or things where there's glitches in the matrix, so to speak, or physical reality seems to go through these kind of undulations of energies where things seem different, or they don't seem real, or stuff like that. It's a big reset. It's a huge ascension, a huge evolution in human evolution or revolution. Anyway, so I think we got all that information out. How are you guys doing there? Stay neutral and grounded. Pour more love. That's a great and MDR. If it exposed, I'm not sure it's out of design or I'm not either, to be honest. To be quite honest about that. Live hearings on UFOs, that's going on now. Yeah. I mean, some of that might be show, just to caution you, other exposures, how about the Epstein papers or whatever? People are so excited about, what was that? The Sounds of Freedom, that Mel Gibson things, until they realize that's just more propaganda. That's not the exposure yet. I mean, in a way, it might be getting people more attuned to what's going on. But so again, I'd be a little bit cautious about assuming that these meetings with UFO disclosures are the real thing, or if they're more cover-ups by admitting something. Well, there's things in the sky, there's cylindrical things, there's things we cannot explain. We'll see. I could be wrong. This could be the real thing, but I think, as I'm talking, I feel like Spirit saying that's more coming 2027 to 2028. This is a big time for exposure of UFOs, a big time for those of us that are more in tune to get more messages from those realms, or to connect more with the intelligent alien beings that are working with our ascension, that are working with us in humanity's ascension. So I think all that is building, but yeah, it's coming to a big crescendo. But the idea is we're closing an old chapter and we're starting a new one now. So it's a very uncertain time, because our subconscious minds likes things that are familiar, likes things that are predictable. That's part of the survival instinct. Nothing's predictable now, so everybody's nervous, and the slightest bit of news that seems unfavorable, it sets people off like more than anything. And now that thought that I lost like about 10 minutes ago is coming back, because I was talking about that it just seemed too easy for Trump winning and everything like that. So so I think that part of that means that there's going to be more conjecture about that, what really happened. But the idea is there are higher authorities than the U.S. president. There is let's say circumstantial evidence, because until something's proven, it's still in the realm of theory, that the elections are manipulated in order to create a certain effect, based on whether you want to call it the cabal or the deep state or whatever. And the idea is people are so hyper focused on what's Donald Trump doing and the politics and everything, and they're so angry and upset. Like I always tell you guys here, if the media and the powers that be are pointing this way, see what's going on in this direction, because there could be a sleight of hand, smoke and mirrors things, that something big may be going on behind the scenes, while everybody's so hyper focused on, were these elections legitimate? Is this president going to just ruin the country? Is this a real threat to humanity? Or conversely, is this the figure that's going to save things, that's going to expose all the darkness and all the evil in the world? And maybe it's a little bit of both. And sometimes people say, because it is a story, it's like we're watching a movie, and I don't want to be trite about it, because obviously lives are affected, and people's lives and their health and well-being is all affected by this. But it's watch how it plays out and everything, because there's a bigger plan. So anyway, what are you guys saying? Let's see. So MDR shows up, who always has interesting things to say. Pointing, it has been said, pointing us to some other place when it's right in your own backyard through your music, sports, politics, and entertainment. There you go. Right. There's a, what was it? The 15th. There's a fight. I love boxing, being a martial artist. To me, it's a real art. And I did some work in the ring when I was younger myself. I didn't get to see the fight. People think it was staged, and that could be. So this is a legitimate concern. Women's rights has me quite bothered. That's and the thing is, women's rights have always been an issue. And in a way, the pressure against women may be just the catalyst that's needed to wake people up to understand the subversive attack on women that's been going on for many, many years, from the unreasonable body image that they try to get every woman to adhere to the fact that there's carcinogenic chemicals in women's beauty products that they put on their skin every day. So Yeah, it's terrifying in a way, but it's going to bring out all the subversive stuff that's been going on all along to the surface, so that women will have a voice, that women will be in their power. And this could be the patriarchal mindset's last stand of suppressing women, basically. So that's my response to that. Um, and Karen says, I think Trump is one of many who were complacent. I agree. Yeah. Again, is it? Yeah. What's behind it though, right? Beautiful greens. Hello, Millie. Sold founded by C Slim. Yeah. All right. You guys are too quick for me, so I'm not catching all this. And we're talking about Sound of Freedom, and she's saying it was made by the traffickers. Makes sense. So anyways, MK, is that Martin Luther King? No, that's not MLK. All right. Anyway, yeah, I really am trying to keep this to an hour, because I know each time we tend to go longer and longer, and we're already 20 minutes in. But good morning, Judy. Good morning, Suzette. I think we already said hi to Karen. Or so anybody else that jumped in, hi to you guys as well. Do I teach tarot? I do teach tarot, and maybe at some point I'll do a tarot class. Thank you, Karen. Okay, so this would be our meditation card. So let me just ask Spirit to bring it to the right card. I've got lots of different divination tools. So this is what we got for this. So interesting. We talk about the divine feminine a little bit, and women's rights and stuff like that. So as a meditation card, one of the things that I recommend, like any other meditation, get very relaxed, relax the body, tune into your breath, get very present and open. And if you get very present and you stop your thoughts, then you become more sensitive to energy. You raise your consciousness that way. And once that happens in your mind, step into this card. If you have your own tarot deck, pull your Queen of Swords out. If not, this is the Morgan Greer deck, and you step in and you feel the energy. So as soon as you step into the card in your mind, what do you feel? Like, what did you feel emotionally, physically, energetically? Mood changes, your energy changes. Maybe what else do you see besides what's in this very tiny little opening to a whole other reality? And what else is in that reality? Whether they're figures, maybe the Queen of Swords is a spirit guide. Queens represent water, swords represent air. So it's kind of like the media, the emotions, and the intellect in a way. So it's kind of like meeting the emotions and the intellect is sort of a broad stroked way of doing heart brain coherence, because the heart is the emotions or the feelings, and the brain is the intellect and the thought, but they're really one and the same. It's just that our programming in society's created that division and duality. This society's created a lot of division and duality, and it's on full display right now. That's why you guys that are here, because that you are aware and awakened, like Russell Brand calls his followers the awakening wonders. So you're the awakening wonders here, basically. It's it's like a blending of the energy. So as we step out of like being triggered by what's going on in the media, and it's easier said than done, because people are, again, worried that their whole reality is going to be harder because of what's going on in the world with politics and everything. But the idea is, if you can be in the heart, feeling the emotion of gratitude, especially if you feel something else, it takes a little bit doing, because the emotion, it's really energy emotion. So it's frequency, it's magnetic energy, but it triggers hormonal responses in the body. So emotion are really hormones in the body. It takes time for the hormones to shift. So you can say, all right, I'm not going to feel angry and upset. I'm going to feel love and joy right now. The body don't work that way. The body's still in those emotions of being upset. So you have to sit with it. You have to be present and stick with it. But if you can raise your emotional frequency, then your heart and your brain start to blend. So in other words, your thoughts start to become more aligned with the higher emotions. So you attain heart-brain coherence, and then you step out of the duality by doing that. You step out of the programming. So that's one of the messages. But do this every day. Step into this, see what message you get from your guides and stuff like that. So let's do a 3-card spread. So yes, I prefer the discernment of their identity. All right, Massachusetts. So I'm in New York in the Catskills. So we're saying, where's everybody located? See how that's happening. How far Adam's spreading? All right. So far we've got Colorado. So we don't have Mr. Floyd on today. Josh or Jared, but they're from Colorado also. Jared is in Who That channel. Josh is Mr. Floyd's Universe channel. So we have a few people in Colorado, Maryland. So I had somebody on one of my YouTube posts respond from Egypt. So I have somebody who's a follower of the channel in Egypt. Next to the U.S., let's see, U.S. is number 1, which isn't surprising. I'm American. UK is number 2. India is number 3 as far as followers in the Medium channel. Canada number 4. I don't remember the list past that, but it's interesting that I have more people from India than Canada that are subscribers to the Medium channel. Idaho, all right. And we have Florida. All right, we have somebody in South Africa. Yay, we have Africa's represented. Nice. So I'm going to do a 3-card spread. I'd love to visit South Africa. There's Mr. Floyd Universe. We were just talking about you. Were your ears burning or something? Oh, Medium channel's on. I got to come on. Anyway, we were talking about you and your great channel a second ago. You might have heard that. All right, so 3-card spread. I've got lots of divination tools. So what time is it? I'm really keeping my mindful of trying to keep this to an hour because your time matters. The fact that you're willing to spend over an hour with me just means everything to me, by the way. I love you guys, but I want to be respectful of your time also. Get the information out quickly. That's the idea. All right, so clearing my mind. Okay, this one. This one here. Got it. Thank you, Spirit. The less I'm thinking, the more I'm being guided by Spirit, right? That's kind of how it works. Interesting card. I'll show you in a second. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. All right, so the general energy I'm seeing with this is a lot of separation, a lot of division, and a lot of hurt feelings. And, this isn't just what's going on in the world. This is what's going on in your lives, in our community, and everything like that. The thing is, I'm in my mind, I'm seeing somebody doing the mic drop. It's almost like you're saying something or whatever, that the mic drop and walking away. So there's my water. There's a lot of that kind of energy. A lot of people, blowing people off, taking people for granted or stuff like that. Now, this is an interesting card, kind of coming into the energy of the week. The 9 of Swords, often comes up when there's a sense of like anxiety or depression or feeling kind of bound, because swords represents the mind or thoughts, and any card where hands are tied, it's kind of being stuck or bound to something. So it's a reminder that to try to practice every day. And here's a good, I've shared this a few times on Tarot Time, a good little thing to do in the morning, which comes from the movie Circle of Iron with David Carradine, that was originally called The Silent Flute with Bruce Lee, but unfortunately Bruce Lee died. It's a martial arts movie. The interesting thing is it's patterned after a passage in the Quran, which is very interesting teachings in that book, also from Islam, where the seeker is seeking the book of enlightenment and goes through all these trials and tribulations, and finally gets to the island, gets to the keeper of the island. There was what was his name? Christopher Lee. He played that role. And he had a choice. He could either not look at the book and be one of the near ones and be in this realm of enlightenment, but never get the knowledge. But no, the seeker opened the book. What did he see? Every page had a mirror on it. And again, it's like the book of enlightenment. Look in the mirror. You are it, basically. But as the story goes, he goes through all these trials and tribulations. But the point being is that David Carradine, it's almost like he's the hero and the villain. In this story that's playing out in the USA in 2024, could it be that Donald Trump is both the hero and the villain in the story? It reminds me of that TV show S.H.I.E.L.D. back in the day, where Vic was putting away the bad guys. He's a great cop, but he also took bribes, from the drug dealers. So again, the lines are not that, what's the right word? Are not that distinct between good and evil. Like we have a little bit of both. And again, good and evil are just concepts, really. They're just our way of perceiving things that people do, or energies, or the motives behind it. But in any event, so David Carradine, getting back to the story, this is why Tarot Time runs over an hour. Is that he tells Cord, that was the seeker's name, every morning when I wake up, I prepare a blank blackboard for the day's lessons to write upon. And you can use a computer template, because this movie is made in the 70s. But anyway, blackboard will do. So a lot of times what I like to do is just, in my mind, erase the blackboard for everything that I think that I know, and just let myself go into the day as just open to receive the lessons. Because if we think we know something, we resist lessons that are contrary to what we believe that we know. The reality is that we know nothing. And once you recognize you know absolutely nothing, then you know everything. That's the dichotomy. That's the riddle of life, basically. There's no duality. That's just two parts of the same whole, basically. I like this comment. It gets complicated when you get tangled up in someone else's stream, and we do that all the time. Yeah. Linda's in Loveland, Colorado. Great. Yes, I haven't listened to Karen S. I do listen to Karen S. Yes, I do indeed. Yes, and I listen to all you guys. Yeah. Oh, this is what you're saying. Please go at your own pace. You work so much. We can always tune in for the end later in the week if it goes too long for us. This is your time to share your thoughts and like mine. Thank you for that. I will listen to that also. Like I said, I'm just trying to be respectful of your time and everything. But good point there. And speaking of which, on that note, for the remainder of November through the beginning of February, I'm going to be pulling back a little bit on the Medium channel, because I've got other work to do. Still going to do the live, still going to do Tarot Time. They'll just be less shorts and less videos. So I'll just give you guys a little heads up with that. But in any event, so what else? Knights move. Knights are fire. Wands are fire. Lot of fire energy here, basically. Lot of swift changes, lots of energies. You're being called upon to make some change in your life now, to do some act of courage, almost like stepping out of a limb, and more of an act of trust right now. If you're unhappy at work, leave your job and trust that the money's coming. Don't be stupid about it, obviously. Have some kind of a backup plan or whatever. Balance is the key here. But if we get wrapped up in things like I need the money, and that becomes just what you're following, just the money, you're not following your dreams anymore. You're being trapped in a program. But when you follow your dreams, you open up this field where you become more magnetic to money. And that's what people don't understand or don't get it. I get it too. I go into that mindset also. I freak out if I don't have enough money until I realize I'm freaking out, and I step back into my heart and realize I'm a being of unlimited abundance. And of course I'm magnetic to money. Of course I am. This is the time to think outside the box with that. The old ways don't work anymore. There's plenty of money out there. There's plenty of ways to bring that money to you. But if you're caught up in the old paradigm of thinking, you're not gonna be able to tap in. So how do you change that and tap into the new paradigm of thinking? It's simple. You stop thinking, you become present, you meditate more, you open up, and you receive the information and the guidance from spirit, basically, and do some research while you're at it also. And then the Ace of Cups, new beginnings, but it's overturned. And again, this week's going to be the aftermath. What's going to happen are people are going to be crashing. They've been so upset. They've been so triggered. They've been so charged. You may find that people are just really almost like zombified out there, that they just seem like they're lifeless and listless. So I think it's our jobs, for those of us that are stepping out of the divide in the programming and coming back to the heart and the spirit, to really be there to uplift other people. And I remind myself every day, I'm not going to get pulled down. I'm not going to get angry and frustrated because people are being freaking idiots. Excuse my language here, or the references. That's just my brain, my monkey mind, interpreting what's going on in that moment. So I'm not going to go there. I'm going to just say, no, I'm going to be in my heart. I'm going to be compassionate. If people are looking at me sideways or being rude or whatever, I have to remember is that they're hurting. It's not me, it's them, that they're expressing what's frustrating in their lives. I just have to be a target. I can choose if I'm going to accept that energy, or if I'm just going to say that's not my energy. And instead, I'm going to send you love and try to be encouraging. Either that, or just not going to say anything, one or the other. So I think we have to really be mindful of these things also. And such. I'm trying to see what else is saying. This is more of the middle card, more action. So take affirmative action. Once you're really in the heart, like you're not in the reaction to things that are going on. This is a good week. Especially those of you. I mean, we're pretty down the middle as far as like people that are more like leaning towards Trump versus leaning more towards left-wing politicians and ideologies. So those are people that are more on the left are really the ones that are hurting right now, basically. So I think it's going to be more of like a time where we can just kind of let things sort of go, let things settle a little bit. And start to just be okay with things and move forward based on what's going on and stuff like that. So let me move on. So PD, welcome PD, saying to we're going to step back from the drama and love ourselves. Good advice there. Very good. I'm sad rising, so we get lived a past life on Mars. Interesting. In a way, this card is reminding me of the Mars landscape, so that's very interesting. And that's very intense. We're saying, I love that you said that. I became very angry with some random lady at the grocery store just for looking at me cross. But ultimately, I was able to let it go. Oh, well, good for you. Yeah, sometimes, apologize is a good thing. not to accept guilt or shame about things. If we made a mistake, we made a mistake. Move on, basically, and apologize. Right? It's attention leadership. So yeah, okay. Hi, Colleen. Welcome. All right, you guys have good comment. I can't keep up. Hi, Yvonne. If I didn't acknowledge you earlier. Mars transitioning Leo. Yeah, so we have a lot going on with astrology. Now, Pluto, again, it's going to Aquarius, a sign of evolution, revolution. For the final time, it's going to stay there. We had the 3 outer planets in a triple sextile, and the full moon activated that. That's Neptune in Pisces, later degrees. Pluto at 29 of Capricorn, and Uranus at 20. What was it? 26, I think, or 25 of Taurus. So that's so they all sextile each other. The Neptune's at the apex, and then Pluto and Uranus. It's a weak trine. It's about a 5-degree orb, but they still trine. So that's gotten activated. That's harmonious when those outer planets are in that's more harmony. It's like a new sort of a version of a harmonic conversion to the outer planets. The age of Aquarius. We can you all sing that song together, right? Who wrote that? I know the Fifth Dimension performed it, but they didn't write the song. Yeah, imagine in the 1960s, a group called the Fifth Dimension. Pretty cool. 60s was a pretty cool time. So anyhow, I've got the Native American deck here. I've got my peace pipe. I've got my medicine card. They really feel like indigenous rights are going to be very much on the forefront with a lot of things. And other minorities also, obviously. Same with the economy, up and down. Okay. Look out around February. That's when I was predicting at least a possible potential crash. Something that might be needed to reboot the world economy, though. So here we go. The Hermit. That sounds like me. But that's also about wisdom. That's key 9. So 9 is also action, energy. It also aligns with the sign Virgo. What is this version have? He's got the lantern. He's got it looks like a mule, like a work, beast or bird, and a work animal. And it's like I'm hearing as I look in this card, I'm hearing Cat Stevens singing "Father and Son." That was a great song from back in the day. And the line is, "You look at me, I am old, but I'm happy." Basically, he's talking to the son. And it's like, sometimes I like to be that because, I'm 66. I ain't no spring chicken either. And, and I go out in the world, and sometimes people ask me, like, how are you so happy? It's like, I have my heart. I have spirit. I know that everything is perfect in the present moment, even if things seem like horrible or going to crap or very chaotic. I know that this is just part of the evolution. It's just part of the experience that we signed up for, basically. And I'm very much at peace with that. So anyway, I love the cat too. Yes. And I even liked Yusuf Islam for that time. He was Yusuf Islam, and then he became Cat Stevens again. Original cast of hair sure made the news. Some nudities, I recall, were gat. Oh my God, nudity. PD in that video. And you wrote a book, Karen? Let's hear about your book. My book says the Anishiba and Anishinaabe this month moon has snake energy and is a healing moon. It makes sense because the sun's in Scorpio. That's a serpent energy, and it's a lead into the year of the snake. So that makes a lot of sense to me. Also, Tea for the Tillerman. I love that album. Yes. On those happy days, on the happy day. That's the song, Tease the Tillerman. All right. Yeah, we literally rock PD. Could we talk about good old rock and roll? I'm a child of the 60s. I was born in 1958. My older brother had the scheme that we were going to run away to Woodstock in 1969. Only problem is he was 11 and I was 9. That wasn't going to happen. But anyway, you know what? I've got the Starseed Oracle deck with me. Let's pull a card from this. I'm kind of changing it up a little bit this week. Oh, the Awakening Fair. I used to do the Awakening Fair. I'd be booked stars. I'd have 30 readings a day when I did the Awakening Fair. I think that's the one in Tarrytown. I think that's the one that we're talking about. I just don't do the events anymore, except for the Shift Fair in Oneonta every year. That's the only event that I do now. And I'm friends with Diana Friedel, or Friedel, I think she pronounced it. Diana Friedel, who's a very gifted medium in Oneonta, New York. If anybody's in that area, you probably know of her. I know of the Shift Fair every April. It reminded me of something that happened in the pandemic. All right. Well, we didn't have the Shift Fair. All right. Anyway, clearing my mind. Here we go. We've got, I remember, Soul Plan, the fated life versus the destiny life. Well, fate and destiny are kind of similar, right? Fate is sort of destiny in a way. So I kind of look at the people ask me, do you believe in fate or free will? And my response is yes, basically. It's fate. Like if I meet like my twin flame or life partner, that's fate. The free will is what the heck I do about it, basically. So there you have it. I think both are relevant. So the thing is remembering, that's one of the main things that we're here. A lot of us are star seeds. I think we're all star seeds to some degree because we're a seeded species. At least that's the only plausible explanation for how modern human evolved from proto-human, with 30% of the genomes not accounted for. Basically, where do they come from? Like, I'm from somewhere up there, right? So anyway, but some of you might be new soul star seeds. In other words, souls that are just not of the earth. They came to the earth in order to help humanity, because we're in that threshold of that shift into the Great Awakening. But you come in, you have to follow the rules to be a human. And part of the rules is to forget who you are. So for someone like me, who's more of an old soul star seed, I forget my past lives. I forget when I lived in Mars, or when I lived in the caves in inner Earth, or when I lived in the Pleiades, or when I was a lion person in the not the Arcturus, not Arcturus, in Lyran, in Vega. And I'm definitely an Arcturian starseed, because I even as a kid I was fascinated. So I know that was that. Yeah, you're probably an old soul starseed also, Karen. Then yeah. So anyway, so remember, that's something. Take some time this week to remember who you are. Basically, remember who you guys are, and you do that through a meditative process. It just happened when you reach the right energetic threshold that an awakening happened. You start to remember things with your other lifetimes. So what do we have here? This would be Kyle Gray's Divine Masters Oracle. So let's see if we can get a message here. Thanks for sharing that. Pleiadian Lyran for Suzette. I can see you definitely as a Pleiadian starseed, Suzette, definitely. A lot of, I think it's common for other star seeds, and this just came into my mind. I never read this or heard this anywhere, but what I've just heard from spirits is that Pleiadian starseeds very often have to deal with a lot of illness in the body, like a lot of stuff. I mean, I don't know if you have or not. I mean, I know you've had a few issues, obviously, but I think that's common among some of the Pleiadian starseeds because, part of it is just, it's an energy of compassion, and sometimes you have to live the light to have the compassion, but also to empower yourself to be the powerful healer that you really are, basically. I mean, I'm sure that comes in with other starseeds also, but I think a lot of the Pleiadians go through a lot of serious illness in this lifetime, and that's part of the remembrance and the ascension and the growth. All right, that's a good point. So that's a little bit of a counter argument there, and yeah, that's what I say. I don't think it's just the Pleiadians. I don't identify so much being a Pleiadian starseed, but I've had to deal with a lot of illness. Some of it very serious myself. Spirit, I feel like Spirit saying, "Oh yeah, you are part Pleiadian." They're talking to me now. I'm like, all right, learn something new every day. uh Anyway, we got Michael and Faith. We've gotten this card before. And then the message here, spiritual calling, divine protection, and breakthrough moment. So find your spiritual calling. Yeah, let it go. Let all the stress go and move forward in your spiritual calling. And again, you can let go of or the aces of could be new beginnings, even though that's reversed. So Michael and Faith. So Michael, Saint Michael, Archangel Michael, really gives us a sense of confidence, and faith, I guess, is just that, faith. So confidence and faith, basically. Interesting. All right, very good. I feel like I'm the healthiest that I've ever been at 66, so so that's good for us as well. Sorry it's been spiraling down, Colleen, so maybe send you some prayers for good health also. So breakthrough moment. So again, by being in the heart, that duality becomes one. The heart and the brain become one. The right and the left really become one. It becomes the center point. So I think this is a lot for the next couple of weeks for us in this community. Expect some big breakthroughs, to come or to surface, basically. Had an epiphany yesterday. Wow, I've had addictions too, so I can relate to that illness and addiction. I had an epiphany. It's just I was so relieved to transition. Yeah, I've sometimes most days I'll be like, if today's my day to die, thank you, I'm ready. Basically, I'm not. I don't want to die, but in a way, I'm looking forward to it. To be honest, so I have the Isis Oracle deck here. Let's get a message from that. What it is. So what else? Me too. So what are we saying here? From what I hear, if we treat ourselves wonderfully today, it can fix our past and our future life. Now, is that a trip or what? Yeah, that to me, that's a very shamanistic concept also. That when we heal ourselves, we heal our ancestry too. We heal our past and our future. And there's a good technique called repatterning. When you do like a past life regression, you can go back in that past life and change it, and then it changes your energy in the present, and that changes who you are and changes what you create in your life. So repatterning is a really good exercise also. All right, so let's get the message from Isis. What we have here, soul retrieval. So this seems to be a theme, is about understanding more about the soul, the traumas, how the souls get scattered, our soul parts get scattered in traumas. And part of what we're doing, we're reconnecting the dots, so to speak. We're reintegrating from this another lifetime. So the message here is deep soul healing with the goddess. So that, again, back to divine feminine energy as well, and the divine feminine. So the goddess energy is more about healing and opening and compassion and love. Male is more that action principle, that spark, that seed, basically, where the female is more the womb, like the nurturance energy, basically. So it might be a good week just to do some like regressions, like go back. You can sort of meditate and go back to when you're a teenager, and then when you're a child, then a baby, then feel yourself being born, then feel yourself in the womb, then go back to spirit where you were between lives, and then go back to a past life. And they're saying bring Archangel Raphael with you to help to heal those other lifetimes as you start to do soul retrieval stuff from this or other lifetimes, basically in a nutshell, for us in this community, because we're people that are very into awakening and evolution and growth. This is a step that we're doing now. There is a big spike in frequencies that we're undergoing. We had the collective quantum leap, according to the master teachers, the group that I channel, that was roughly between the Lions Gate and the 1111 portals, and now it's like the body, our energetic field has to reset after that quantum leap. It's a shift of energy. Sometimes it creates illness. Sometimes it creates things that go wrong in our lives, but it's still a reset, and we see it on a collective level also. So basically, this is the time to really start to reintegrate those soul parts and to really go deep within with our inner healing and everything. All right, so we'll send Colleen a lot of prayers. When I catch your comments, that would be good for everybody to see. I'll post them. Absolutely, lots of prayers for you. And Karen saying crying and grief are necessary. People who do not grieve end up broken and spread. So it really is. Yeah, it's just part of the process, right? It's just part of being human. So as we go into those deep soul energies, sometimes there is that longing and tears come up, and the grief for what how we've been separated from who we are as spirit or source. That's the ultimate grief, basically. That basically we're in this kind of shell of a body where to us who we are as spirit is dead. Basically, we grieve that our whole lives until we begin to reconnect. At least that's oversimplified, but at least that's my belief and what I see. So what else do we have? Moonology. Can't forget the moon, right? We just had a powerful full moon. We're still in the energy, even though we're coming to the gibbous waning moon. We're still in the energy of the full moon. Yeah, crying a lot lately. Yes, it's the 1111 portal that when I was doing the channeling. It's very, very powerful. As soon as I stopped, all of a sudden this wave came over. I just started crying, in front of all you guys. How embarrassing! But it really wasn't embarrassing. I was cool with it. I was laughing. It was like I was crying and laughing at the same time. But it was tears of, what's the right word? Tears of ecstasy and awakening, it wasn't sad crying at all. It was happy crying. Anyhow, but it's also that grief being released, right? It's also pent up grief, pent up anger in a way. The spirit's kind of telling me what was going on. So there's a lot of pent up anger, fear, and grief that was being released, because that transmission, me being the epicenter, as it were, or the conduit of the energies, and then leading this, I get the strongest hit of the energies, and you guys feel it. I know that you do. Could you tell me that? So I'm getting that, and then when it was done, whew, I was like just wide open, basically. So anyhow, Moonology. Here we go. Found my card, and the card is a time to give rather than take, and this is the new moon in Virgo. So not really in the new moon in Virgo, but that's the energy. New moon in Virgo. Yeah, it's Virgo, kind of it's Mercury, but it's very kind of sweet and loving in a way, a little bit intellectual. And again, we're coming up to Thanksgiving, so that's appropriate. And when we give from our heart, then we receive more from spirit, basically. So Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, 1 o'clock, we'll do our traditional get together and do prayers of gratitude and prayers for the earth. So we'll do that together on Thanksgiving Day. Now doing, yeah, right. It's very good. Virgo 99 here. Yes, Suzette. Yes. Fire with Yara was amazing. I missed that, because he was doing when I was working. I know I can get to the video, but maybe when I'm doing yoga tonight, I'll watch the Fire Homa with Jared. That's Who the channel. I think it's Who underscore the, because if you look that up on the on YouTube, you're just gonna get the Who, not Who the. All right, so time to give rather than receive. Very good. So what do you have to give? Maybe it's wisdom, maybe it's love, maybe giving somebody a hug, or somebody that's down and out in their luck, like giving them some money or helping them that way. So we hit all of this. I think all I have left are the medicine cards. So we'll get our animal totem message and our angel message too. I love your new show. Reba, what new show? So let me know what Reba's doing. Is that a YouTube thing? You guys that have YouTube channels, feel free to post your links on this thread here. We're a community. We go to each other's channels. You don't see me a lot, but that's because I'm basically between 3 hours of every day dedicated to my spiritual work, doing readings, doing YouTube, and eating. Generally, that's when I watch videos, is when I'm having a meal usually. But I'm there with you in spirit if I'm not there with you on your lives and videos, just so you know that. Frog, the dweller of two worlds. This is although, this is very frog energy, right? Fire and water here, and air, fire, water. So the frog is the dweller of the two worlds, the water and the land, the realm of emotion, feeling, and energy, and the realm of physical matter, basically. So frog medicine is very powerful. And I need the book, because I'm sure there's more to say about that. 38, which happens to be my life path number, is 38, which reduces to 11. So I'm an 11 life path. Amphibians are amazing. Yes, they are. 37, 38. Well, and the medicine card just said it's cleansing, and that's a good message also. So frog, sing, sing. I love the little poems. Call the rains, quench the dryness, cleanse the earth, and fill me up again. And this is reminding me, because the last couple of days I've been doing, because I do like weather magic or weather whatever. I mean, I came into all this as a weather forecast. I graduated with a BA in meteorology, Bachelor of Arts, not science and meteorology for whatever reason. But also we influence the weather, and the weather influences us. I was really feeling, the rain, just like Bob Fields, who's Native American, elder that I met in Oklahoma years and decades ago. And I heard a similar account from Greg Braden. It's one day we were hiking in the woods and just kind of said very offhand. He said, when we pray for rain, it rains. When we do the rain dances, it rains. And he's saying but it's not because we're asking the Creator to make it rain. No, we're feeling the rain, and we're expressing gratitude for the rain that's already falling. So when I do this work, it's like I'm smelling the rain, I'm feeling it. It's very, very dry here. We had, uncomfortably close. We had a brush fire on Peakamoose Mountain, a beautiful mountain in the Catskills. Not to mention what happened in northern New Jersey, southern tier of New York. Terrible stuff with things that are terribly dry right now. So I heard there's a chance of rain on Thursday, and I started doing this last week. Nothing. And then all of a sudden in the extended forecast, like a 90% chance of about an inch of rain on Thursday. An inch of rain would be a really, really good start. Also, my water pressure is low, so the wells are, the water table is low in our area right now. And in fact, 49 to 50 states, parts of 49 to 50 states are in some level of drought right now. So I think this is the message is for us to really feel like it's already raining, feel grateful for it. You need the rain, right? So this would be angel card. Finish up with a quick angel message. And this is heart chakra. So heart coherence. Practice a lot of heart coherence, heart brain coherence. I've got at least a half dozen videos on the Medium channel. And I should, if I don't already, have a playlist just for heart brain coherence. If not, I'm going to create one. But I definitely have lots of videos on how to do the practice. It's very simple. Everything in spirituality is very simple. Hearts want to love, feel grateful, compassion, magnify that in the heart, and then the brain and the heart will blend just by doing that. Once you sit with it for a couple minutes, it starts to happen, and miracles start to happen. You shift, basically. So the message here is the answer that you seek is in your heart right now. Be open to giving and receiving love. So anyway, so if you guys are available at 7 Eastern time, join that. Okay, what else you guys saying? We had fires in New Jersey. My lifetime, I really don't remember that. So yeah, it's bad. Yeah. Be the change you want to see in the world. Something right. Something like that. Yeah. Try to be the change you want to see. Right? Was that Malcolm X or one of them? All right. Anyway, I love feng shui too, and I love when I was able to catch you guys live. It was a great presentations from Krista of a Blindly Inspired channel. So she has a channel also. All right, yes, we have to be the peace. Absolutely, that's that. All of a sudden, just because we got frog also as our totem animal, I'm hearing and we talked a lot about indigenous rights. It's interesting. I'm hearing Jim Morrison singing "Peace Frog." That song "Peace Frog." So what was the poem? Something scattered on dawns. Something about Indians scattered on dawn's bleeding highway. Who cracked the fragile egg-shell mind? And this was his accounts of when he was 8 or 9 years old, having a past life recall about being Native American. Reminds me of Thunderheart. Yeah, the movie Val Kilmer, Thunderheart. That's one of my favorite all-time movies, by the way, which deals with the first wounded knee and the little bighorn. Not little. I'm thinking little big man, bighorn. Oh God. Anyway, things that happened in South Dakota, and he was like an FBI agent. He's investigating, the uprising at Wounded Knee in the 70s or whatever. But he goes through this whole transformation and taps into a past life memory where he was actually on the battlefield, like he was a Native American, and in the first Wounded Knee incident, little bighorn. Yeah, so anyway, so we were talking about how we're going to be seeing a lot more of the indigenous people wanting to, get their rights more across, like what happened in New Zealand at a parliament meeting where they started to chant like ancient indigenous chants, things like that coming up. It's all part of the evolution and the revolution. So that's interesting. So yeah, Dustin Hoffman. That was Little Big Man. Yeah, that was another excellent movie on the same subject. Yeah, Little Big Man, and then Thunderheart, not Braveheart. That's the other. That's the one with Mel Gibson. Thunderheart. Great, great movie. Yes. All right. Love you guys. So I don't think I have any live stream scheduled for this week, so it's a little quieter until we get closer to the end of the month and the next new moon. Then we'll do some more unless something comes up. So we'll see you guys next Sunday, if not sooner. Check that one out if you can find it. I'm sure it's still available. I think you'll love it. All right, signing off for now. Have beautiful